Alright, so back with another build, back with another hunter build, might I say. And I've come to a decision that I want to make a risk runner build for hunter. I have one for Titan, I have one for warlock, and now I want to make one for hunter. Obviously, hunter, not as easily able to be made because hunter abilities are not nearly as good as Titan and warlock for arc in terms of PvE, except top tree. I know top tree's there. But basically, I wanted to make a build for hunter that can be used with a risk runner efficiently. Now, before I actually get into this build, I'm just going to announce this right now. This build is purely for fun, although even though it is for fun due to some mods as well as the risk runner, it still can be used in some nightfalls, just not grandmaster, and it still can be used in raids and dungeons. Okay, all right, anyway, moving away from that, let's carry on. So basically, before I get into the risk runner, let me actually go over the basics of the subclass real quick. So we are using bottom tree subclass, and we are using it for the main intention of combat meditation. While critically wounded, melee and grenades recharge drastically faster. Now we are pairing that with the flux grenade. Yep, this piece of crap grenade that you forgot was in the game that I wish would be removed, or is a sin among sticky grenades in Destiny 2, but it helps us proc our risk runner. So along with combat meditation, which will be getting us our grenades and melee back faster, but alongside that we are using frosties. Sprinting gives energy and dodge regeneration while sprinting. Dodging increases your sprint speed. So alongside combat meditation we have frosties, and with these two combined we get our grenade back almost as soon as the timer for combat meditation runs out, which is I believe around 5 seconds. So if we play accordingly, we will get our flux grenade back within 5 seconds. If you have 100 discipline alongside that, might I add. But yeah, you can get your grenades back extremely fast on hunter, on arc. That is something that I never thought I would say, but here we are, baby. Now, like I said, we are running risk runner, so let's get into it real quick. When taking arc damage, this weapon becomes more powerful and resists incoming arc damage. Kills extend the time in this overcharged state. So when we throw the flux grenade at our feet and do damage to ourselves to proc the risk runner as well as our combat meditation, we will be procking our risk runner perk. And if there are enough enemies, our risk runner will be able to reproc itself and reset the timer over and over again until our next grenade comes back, more often than not. If, however, your risk runner time runs out, you will have the next flux grenade to reset the timer and so on. So it's kind of like a cycle, and in some ways the flux grenade is only used in terms of proccing our risk runner, but if there is a lot of arc damage anyway in an area you're in, you can actually use the flux grenade to kill enemies. So it just depends on what you're dealing with situationally. And yeah, in terms of weapons, it doesn't really matter what we use. I'm using a sniper as well as a rocket launcher. You can use whatever heavy you want, you can use whatever secondary you want. It doesn't have to be bound by any means. Maybe go demolitionist with your primary or your heavy, but it's not necessary at all. I for one am recommending a rocket launcher alongside a sword for your heavy, because you need some sort of boss DPS, because your risk runner, let's be honest, it is not going to be used for boss DPS. It is going to be used for clearing ads, so we need some sort of weapon to help us kill the higher tier enemies. Moving on to stats, I am running 100 discipline alongside 80 mobility. Everything else can be whatever you want. I'm running 100 discipline so we can get that grenade recharge rate as high as we possibly can, because we want our flux grenades as much as we possibly can. And I'm running 80 mobility because this will be getting us our grenade back as well due to the mod bomber, which reduces our grenade cooldown whenever we use a class ability. Moving on to the mods, the charge of light mods, we are using protective light. We are using protective light because, like I said earlier, the flux grenade doesn't kill us, but it brings us below shields. And what protective light does is, while charged with light, you gain significant damage resistance against combatants when your shields are destroyed. So using our flux grenade will in fact proc protective light if we're standing right on top of it, which will give us some damage resistance when moving into the field with our risk runner, which already gives us some arc resistance in the process, so we have more resistances. You don't have to use protective light, I'm just using it as a precaution for safety measures, I guess you could say. We are also using taking charge to become charged with light, because we are going to be getting consistent kills with our risk runner. Try to get your risk runner catalyst done so you can actually get those orbs of light so that taking charge is put into effect, because this will be a big way for us to become charged with light alongside another mod called swift charge, which helps us become charged with light when getting rapid kills with a pulse rifle, sidearm, or submachine gun. So very useful. And the last charge of light mod we are using is Argent Ordnance. And basically what this does, this is our other charge of light mod that we're going to be using if we don't want to use our flux grenade to proc protective light. This is where the boss damage comes from, and what this does is, while charged with light, raiding or firing a rocket launcher grants it increased damage and reload speed. Now, like I said earlier, you can use a sword as well, and we can use a sword due to a mod called Lucent Blade, which increases our sword damage while charged with light for 5 seconds, consuming 1 stack of charged with light, but that is personally up to you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should use exactly in every single build. I still want my builds to be open to be messed around with, which is why none of this stuff is concrete. Which brings me to something that I actually wanted to discuss. There is a mod called Firepower that I do not have, but I would highly recommend it. Now, what Firepower does is while charged with light, regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use a grenade. So this would increase our grenade capabilities exponentially. So if you have Firepower, I would highly recommend using it. I just don't have it, which I am extremely sad about, but it is what it is. Maybe one day the Bungie gods will put Firepower into the gunsmith. Highly doubt. But yeah, that is going to wrap up the video and the build. If you enjoyed it, I am extremely glad and happy, for this wasn't a waste of time. And if you didn't like it, well, sucks to suck. I love you anyway. I'm sorry if you didn't like it. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.